So, are beans legal or illegal to ship across the United States?
Hemp. That is the sister plant to marijuana. It does not get you high. Hemp is legal in 42 states. The Farm Bill could make it legal at the federal level.
Can they cross state lines, and at what point does it become illegal? Well, in 2022, the Drug Enforcement Administration, or the DEA, quietly recognized cannabis seeds as legal. The DEA's reasoning behind the affirmation was actually tied to the 2018 Farm Bill, which legalized hemp, subsequently defining and separating it from the marijuana consumed as cannabis sativa. So at this point, you may be wondering, hemp, marijuana, what's the difference? Well, both hemp and marijuana plants are the same species. The main difference lies in how much of a certain cannabinoid each contains. Now, it's a common misconception that hemp and marijuana are two different species of plant. In fact, they're not two different species, they're the exact same thing. Science doesn't differentiate between hemp and marijuana, but the law does. So legally, the difference between the two is that THC content. THC is one of the many cannabinoids or chemicals found in the cannabis plant, and it's the one that's mainly responsible for that high that's associated with cannabis. Now, the term hemp is used to define cannabis that contains less than 0.3% THC by dry weight, whereas anything over that is not legally defined as hemp. It's just the good old bud. Now, this distinction becomes important because in order to meet the definition of hemp, you got to have under 0.3% THC. And legally speaking, hemp is not a controlled substance under the Controlled Substances Act. So does that mean that these beans actually fall under the legal definition of hemp and then they can be sold without criminal liability? Well, let's dig into that a little bit more, because things can get tricky and people want to trick you, and I don't want you guys to get in trouble, because I know a lot of you guys are looking for that fire and there are a lot of different ways that you guys can get it. And on that note, I just want to shout out the iCan VIP Bean Club, man. The iCanFAM is popping. We always got tons of new genetics going out to all VIPs. Mailboxes are burning down everywhere. So definitely join up with the iCanFAM on Patreon, because that bean club is popping. And speaking of beans and new genetics, Qualiturp seed starter kits are banging. The germination booster absolutely rocks. I use it all the time. Definitely give them a try. Start your beans off right. Hit that discount code icanthc and snag a discount on all their gear. And if you don't want any new fire genetics, then you can cop some iCanFAM merch on the Diesel Dog website. We got tons of new designs and gear on there for all the iCanFAM. So if you want to support, cop a t-shirt, a hoodie, a hat, and support the channel. Like I always say, iCan is not monetized, so huge thanks to everyone that does support. Your support goes a long way and helps us to create more content. There's still a lot of confusion when it comes to actually shipping stuff across state lines. And it was so well put by Dark Heart Nursery CEO Daniel Grace, who said this seems to be a green light from the feds that genetics can start moving across state lines, and many breeders are already starting taking advantage of this. But if not all state regulatory programs still require closed-loop seed-to-sale systems. As a result, state regulations and regulators still pose a problem here. Ironically, in this case, the feds are saying yes, but the state is still saying no. So hopefully, states will act promptly to clear up this discrepancy and allow the interstate and international genetic space to flourish. So as you guys can see, that throws a big spanner in the works. The Fed says yes, it may be legal, but the state says, well, you gotta follow our individual laws. So where are we at with it? Are beans still illegal to ship? Well, in our industry, unfortunately, no decision regarding legality is ever absolute. So before you rush to buy your beans, it's key to make sure the state laws vary widely depending on whether beans are legal or illegal to ship. For example, in Michigan, licensed cultivators may only buy beans from other licensed cultivators or from licensed caregivers serving medical patients. Conversely, those same caregivers may obtain seeds from out of state. So it's kind of crazy. Whereas in Massachusetts, licensed growers are given 90 days starting from the point of earning a certificate of occupancy to obtain those seeds. Cultivation businesses may source genetics from seed banks or associated growers, but only within that 90-day window. Beyond that 90-day window, the sources of all genetics must be cited in the state's METRC-based tracking system. So they literally track every single thing, guys. But interestingly enough, in May 2023, the sale of cannabis seeds and plant clippings became legal in Massachusetts, after the state's control commission gave the go-ahead for sales up to 6 seeds or clones, and they defined a clone as a clipping from a plant that can be rooted and grown. Now it's obvious, there's a lot of demand for clones, plants, seeds, because it allows people to grow at home, and it's the most affordable way to grow your own medicine and to have good bud. So as you guys can see, we're in this precarious position where one thing says yes and another thing says no. While the DEA's official determination does make a big difference federally, many of these states include seeds when they define what cannabis is. And that is a little bit tricky. Because of the definition on a state level, this does not give the producers within that state a clear pathway as to how they can acquire fresh genetics or share their genetics with other people in different states. In the states that attempt to exert total control over anything that's related to the plant, they are directly limiting the quality of the product which they depend on for that tax revenue. Personally, I think a simple fix will actually go a long way in reducing this issue. A lot of people call out for what they would like to see, and that's very simple. They would like to see more legal states remove the word seed from the definition of cannabis. That would allow for legal growers in the state access to a wider variety of genetics. But until then, one of the most important functions of the state legal cannabis space remains handcuffed by that regulatory language. So while in certain states you may still have legality, everyone knows that on a wider scale the cannabis marketplace is still pretty much illegal. Not might be illegal, it is illegal. It's quite profoundly unjust and outrageous that we're still in this state of affairs. Nobody really wants to talk about that because it's really uncomfortable in reality. State markets are premised on the discrimination against the interstate commerce, which is whack. Now, will the DEA stance prod the industry to move forward towards a more open genetics market? We'll still need to find out. The seed space is still fairly cloak and dagger. Some breeders in this space are doing great work, while others are finding a lot of difficulty in even getting their genetics out. And on top of that, there's still a lot of ambiguity in state federal legality. Many breeders are still not able to professionally build their business. For instance, most of them are not able to formally obtain intellectual property protections on the genetics they produce. And this may have benefits but also has downsides. A lot of the times financial and banking services are not available to people within our industry either. So aside from intellectual property protections and financial support, hopefully in the future the 2023 Farm Bill may also provide specific guidance on these beans. While we hope the federal legalization does come around and hone those agricultural policies, the Farm Bill should fine-tune the language around hemp cultivation, including the definition of what hemp actually is. So all this said, I think we still got a long way to go. Yes, the DEA has classed beans as hemp and hemp is technically not legal, but assume nothing, guys. Always be careful if you're purchasing and if you're trying to acquire new genetics. And like I said, the iCanFAM VIP Bean Club is popping. We got tons of new genetics from all sorts of breeders going out to all VIPs. And we always try to get that nice variety. Autos, regs, fems, all sorts of stuff. So join up with the iCanFAM VIP Bean Club, don't miss out. And guys, I also want to mention that while the definition of hemp applies within the United States, if you're aiming to ship those beans outside the United States, that's when things can become purely illegal. There's a lot of people that still live in prohibition land and a lot of countries where it's still fully illegal, no parts of the plant are allowed in, especially if you're shipping and importing into those countries. So for me, when I lived out in the Caribbean, I was not able to import beans. I actually got tons of genetics seized, simply because you needed a psychosanitary farming license to be able to import any type of seeds. So that's something you guys need to be aware of. While it may be legal from state to state or from one state to another legal state, if you're shipping outside of the US to a place that's not got any laws intact just yet, then that may be completely illegal and you could be setting yourself and whoever else is receiving those beans up for trouble.
This video is brought to you by Mars Hydro, where they have a variety of grow lights and grow tents for growers of all experience levels. Whether you're a small home grower or setting up a slightly bigger commercial operation, they have the tents and lights for you. They have tents for every space and need, including the new 2-in-1 tents. And they also have a wide variety of lights to choose from, including full spectrum LED and the new detachable FCE series. Links to all of the products that we use on this channel, including the Mars Hydro grow lights, are in the description below. Be sure to use the links below to support the iCanTHC channel. You can also save a few bucks on the Mars Hydro website by using the code icanthc at checkout for store-wide savings. Don't forget to use the code and save yourself a few bucks. Now, back to the video.
So really be careful, guys. Be careful, be safe, and do things the right way. And drop it in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of this. Have you guys ever ordered any bees? Have you ever gotten seized? Have you gotten in trouble? Have you found yourself in hot water or anything like that? And hopefully as we move forward, this is less of an issue, because everyone should be able to grow their own medicine at home. Let me know what you guys think. Drop it in the comments down below. I'm always interested to find out what you guys got to say. And if you want to find out more about growing that fire, check out any video on screen right now, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace, fam.